Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers Showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another vehicle that goes with the water mod. This one is called the Nautilus Civilian Exploration Submarine, which is this glorious thing over here. So this is a very big submarine that features both a drill and a collection hook made from pistons and magnetic plates, so you can go around, trawl the bottom of the ocean and collect up whatever goodies you find. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, the Nautilus is 412 large blocks in pretty much all the DLC packs. Now we've got some very important information on the Steam Workshop page, such as don't take it below 600 meters or you will start taking damage. So give this thing a thumbs up, we'll move all around towards the very front, we'll have a brief look around the outside, have a brief look at the interior, and then we'll go and drive it around for a bit under the water to see what kind of goodies we can find. So all the way over here at the very front, this is what we get. Front and center, what we can see is our brand new window blocks that make a bloody good front for a submarine. Just below that, we've got our drilling arm and then our collection arm made out of magnetic plate, a rotor and hinges. We also got two spotlights to light up the darkness, which is going to be very useful while underwater. And as we were to move around onto this side, this is what we get. It's got a bunch of orange and black steel blocks. We can see even more great use of our rounded window blocks. There is a hydrogen engine, there is a interior turret just in case you need it, there is a searchlight which is very good for a submarine, a couple of atmospheric thrusters to help push you around while underwater, and we do have a little walkway around the edge in case you need to do a bit of maintenance work where this block looks like it's in dire need of maintenance work. Anyway, coming around and towards the very back of this thing, there is a gyroscope to help move this thing around. There's a rear living quarters where it will be a bit funny when we go on the inside, because the water mod can't really differentiate the interior from exterior, so just have to ignore that. And at the very back itself, there is an antenna, there's the other living quarters, and we'll just drop down a little bit, that's all we get. Just coming around onto this side, we'll get a better look at the living quarters inside here. So we've got an air vent, we've got a bed, a desk and table setup, and then a shower and toilet. But to move away from that and onto this side, there's another gyroscope, there's a couple more atmospheric thrusters, there's a searchlight, turret and hydrogen engine. But on this side, we've got ourselves an ore detector, which will be very useful if you are playing on a very flooded world. So we come all the way up and look down before we go underneath it. That is the front of our cockpits. We've got two chairs, one below and one above. The one above can be used underwater, but it's going to be mainly used for driving this thing around on the surface. The one below that is perfect for being underwater, because then you get a clear view of the clearance between you and the ground. Along over here, a couple of ion thrusters. We can see some window blocks on top of some doors, which will act as an airlock to the front. There is some more great use for our rounded window blocks. That's where I'm standing. We've got a small little landing pad with a connector, and we've got two light panels that can light up to allow ships to find you in the night. Then towards the back there, that's the top of our little living quarters, where we do have a warfare reactor, just to give it an additional bit of power. Coming all the way down and underneath, that's what we get below our living quarters, so just a bunch of catwalks. We've got some great use of our stair blocks, there is all of our atmospheric thrusters, there's both the gyroscopes, some great use of our neon tubes, there is a gravity generator next to another searchlight, but this time we've got ourselves a custom setup, where it is on a rotor onto a hinge. We've got two spotlights, two heat vents, and a camera. Then at the very front here, here's our drilling arm, here is our collector arm, where we can clearly see the hinges, the pistons, to go ahead and extend them out and rotate them all the way around. And there we go. That's a very brief look around the outside of the Nautilus Civilian Exploration Submarine, and it looks bloody fantastic for how it's all been set up. But now what I can do is just grab hold of my character, come around over to the doorway. Though we can have a quick look around here, we will get blended up if we jump into that. We can come down here, do some maintenance work if we need to, and wave away the people on the shoreline. Anyway, all the way up to here and coming over to this doorway, this is the main entrance in and out. It's a singular door, so make sure you don't open it while underwater. And this is what we get all the way around. This is what we can see from the front. Then we've got two little ladder shafts on each side to allow us to go down to the next level. And this is what we get on this side. So once again, we've got some window blocks to appear outside. We can see a basic refinery just in case we need it, and it will be the same on the opposite side. So there we go. If you're in an emergency and need to refine something up to repair the submarine, this is how you'll do it. Coming all around and onto this section, we've got a survival kit to respawn and heal on. Then got cargo access, so we can go inside here and see what's going on. Turning around, we've got another cargo access, and in the floor, an O2H2 generator to keep this thing powered. Before we come over to the front, because that's how we're going to drive this thing around, that's the double airlock we saw earlier, let's just come all the way around towards the back. So there is another heat vent, there's a lovely viewing port on the top, around here's a small little section, then we can go further down, and that's the water creeping in. Yes, and into this section, this is our kitchen area. We've got a small table set up, there's our kitchen table and kitchen counter, round towards the back, another cargo access, and just looking around here, this is all we get. So coming down into the water, let's pretend like it's not here because there's not much we can really do about this. But here's a doorway to open up, and now we're into our little living quarter. We've got our bed, our table, a good window outside, there is our air vent, and here is our shower and toilet setup. If we just come around up this, and to the opposite side is going to be identical, so we can have a fair amount of crew on here when you go exploring. Anyway, coming out of this and up, we need to come up once again. We're now coming towards the front because it's time to drive this thing around. So through here, here's our double door. And there's no time block, no script to control this. We will have to manually close it behind us. And this is what we get. You do have to be careful because there is a hole in the floor to get to the lower cockpit. Getting into here, first person view, this is what we see all the way around us and does look like we are a little bit wonky. There we go. Hopping out to this and coming down to the next floor. Getting to this one. So as for the controls, it's the same for both seats, where number 1, 2 and 3 is going to be for our drilling system. So bring the free camera over towards the very front. We can see the drill arm right there. Pressing number 1, back into the free camera, we can now move this thing around with our mouse, up, down. And then we can press number 2 to extend it out. We can press number 3 to activate the drill. And we can press number 4, which will be for the cameras right in between them. We've got to bring the free camera over and come down to here. And spin this around. There we go, that's that fancy camera we saw earlier. And we'll get a good view all the way around. Before us just come out of the free camera and back into first person view, we should just go back into that. So we can see clearly what's going on. There's all the lovely fishies. There it is right there. We look down at all the grass. Pressing number 8, that's going to be for our collector to suck in all the water, which will be ice, feed it to our O2H2 generator, then over to our hydrogen engines to give us power. Number 9 is then for that connector on top to lock and unlock it. Onto tab number 2, this is going to be a similar control to the drills, but it's going to be for our collection arm. Going to be for this one over here where we press number 1, and we can now move this all the way down. We can spin it around if we need to thanks to that rotor. We can extend it out one by one with each piston. Then we can press number 4 to lock that plate in place once we're happy with what we're about to collect. If we were just come underneath this vehicle, number 8 and number 9 is going to be for the magnetic plates right below our atmospheric thrusters to lock it down in place if you want to keep the vehicle steady. We'll come over to tab number 3, we then got controls for all the doors all the way around the ship, so we can make sure they are all closed in the event of emergency. Oh god, don't want to do that. There we go. Yes, number 6 and number 7 and number 8 is for our atmospheric thruster controls. As you saw there, just fiddling around with it, it's going to get very, very wonky, and if we was to turn off the atmospheric thrusters altogether, it will start to sink down. If we come over to tab number 4, this will be for our lights all the way around the ship, so looking underneath it, we can see one hell of a lot of lights coming out of this. Pressing number 1 will turn them all off. Number 2 will then be for our interior lights on and off. And then number 3 will be for our light plates or panels at the top there to turn it on and off to help ships land. And then finally, number 9 is then for our antenna on and off. And that's that for the controls. And here we go under the water. Might need to turn off the atmospheric thrusters so we can keep going down. As you can see there, the depth is going up. And we are slowly heading towards the lights in the distance. Then use number 4 to get a good view of what's going on. So we need to spin this all the way around and zoom in. But it looks like we are going down quite rapidly. But luckily we won't be able to hit the crush depths, so I don't think this area can go that deep. And in third person view, that's what that looks like. We'll come over to this and turn on our atmospheric thrusters once again. We now start to move forwards and head on over. And here we are at the Earth-like base, underwater with all the fishies, and it looks like several of the ships have gone missing, apart from the one which is currently clamped down over there. And that's the one I'm going to try and collect up with the collection arm. So now start to move towards it. We'll go in third person view so you can see what's going on. We'll very slowly come up to it. I'm not very good at controlling submarines, so I'm expecting to crash straight into something. And here we go. So that should be good enough. I can start to slow down. The piston should have enough range to reach that. And We'll now just come over to tab number 1. We'll try and slow this thing down just a little bit. In fact, might need to level this thing out. We might drop down onto the platform itself, just to make it a bit more stable. There we go, that'll do. Now we can take over the arm. I'll come into third person view, bring the camera over. There we go. And now I can start to move the arm out. Got control over it. And we'll see if we can just clamp ourselves onto it. Just have to be very careful of that grinding bit there, because if I go too low, I'm going to lose that arm. And there we go, I've now connected onto it. I'm going to retract this thing back. I might damage something there. Let's just try and get this all the way back. Oh, that is not a happy ship. And back into first person view, that's what that looks like. Let's just try and escape away. Let's just turn off those. Oh god, that wasn't good. Let's just now turn on the atmospheric thrusters. Let's escape out of here with that grinding ship. And we'll be on our way. And here we go, we're now coming up to the surface. Very, very slowly. And that will be that. So yes, it's a bloody fantastic submarine if you are looking to play around with the water mod. The water mod has been updated so it is a hell of a lot more stable, and as you can see from around me, it has been updated on top to make it look a lot more fancier. So there'll be a link to both of these in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.